and they'll have to be a bit more alert in Tuesday's game because, Borussia Dortmund can punish a lot more than Eintracht Frankfurt did.
Yeah, but it came in a way that you don't normally associate with Dortmund. Frankfurt found themselves behind and rather sloppily. I thought Bayern Munich just seemed to lose a bit of concentration and then concede 2 goals from set pieces. One thing you know from Dortmund over the years, and you've seen since the league resumed, is that they're very much a counter-attacking team. They sit back, soak up pressure, haven't made very many mistakes, particularly since the league started back defensively, and they're lethal on the counter-attack. But you saw a different side to Eintracht Frankfurt and what they offered and how Bayern Munich conceded their goals. They have some work to do in the couple of days before then, just in terms of tidying that up. But right now, that doesn't send alarm bells as far as Dortmund is concerned.
Just to look at the table after Saturday's games then, and Bayern restoring that 4-point advantage at the top. Bayer Leverkusen actually continuing to climb. They're up in 3rd, but of course, RB Leipzig will play on Sunday. And then all attention will turn to Tuesday's game, Der Klassiker, Borussia Dortmund against Bayern Munich. Both teams going into it looking really good, despite the fact there has been that stop in play, Shaka.
Yeah, that's right. And as I mentioned, Dortmund doing as they've done so well over the last couple of years and don't seem to have missed a stride because of the break. Maybe a little bit of question marks about Bayern Munich defensively, but we've already spoken about that. I just feel as good as Bayern have been, they haven't been as dominant since the resumption. And listen, I understand the scorelines suggest totally differently, but you spoke about Frankfurt getting themselves back in it. You don't want to give Dortmund that kind of an opening if you do get the lead. As we mentioned earlier, Kate, this is a do or die for Borussia Dortmund. There's no wiggle room for them, whereas Bayern maybe might shoot themselves in the foot in terms of a little bit of their own complacency. You hope that Dortmund don't do it. Whichever way, however we analyze this, however we break this down, it's going to be an incredible game by 2 of Europe's best teams.
What has to happen for Dortmund to get a win in this game?
They somehow have to cope with the movement of Robert Lewandowski and Thomas Müller, who continues to find those spaces in behind. If there's one Achilles heel to Borussia Dortmund, and as I mentioned earlier, it hasn't really been on show since the resumption, is defensively. They don't have the pace, I feel, to cope with teams running in behind. But they've sat deep and they've anticipated and read things well, albeit against lesser opposition than Bayern Munich. Munich will play on the front foot. They have to be very careful of Dortmund on the counter-attack. They have simply been incredible. We spoke earlier again about Guerrero and Sancho and that 2-pronged midfield attack that supports so well everything that Dortmund does going forward. That for me is going to be their question, whether they can play that high line as we've seen and still cope with the pace of those two.
So you've got Jadon Sancho starting in this one?
I think he has to. And I can't explain why he was used as sparingly as he has been, coming off the bench in both of the last 2 games, but especially how the game transforms with him on the park and how much better I think Dortmund are on the counter-attack when they have that dual focus. I think he has to play. It allows Haaland more room, more space, and better service from those coming in behind.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.